Every avoidant relationship begins with a lie, not a deliberate deception, but a psychological illusion so powerful that both partners believe it. The avoidant appears open, attentive, even ideal, an extraordinary partner who seems capable of real intimacy. For a time, the connection feels magnetic, irresistible, destined to last. But beneath the surface, another story is already unfolding, one that always ends the same way, because avoidant relationships do not follow chance. They follow a script written long before the relationship began, forged in childhood attachment wounds, and replayed with chilling precision in adulthood. No matter how different the partner, the culture, or the circumstances, the same cycle repeats: initial passion, growing anxiety, defensive withdrawal, and finally, the inevitable crisis. This is not theory. It is a psychological roadmap, a pattern so consistent that once you recognize it, you can almost predict the future of an avoidant relationship before it even begins. 4 stages, each darker than the last, carrying both partners toward a final decision point. And at that point, there are only 2 possible endings. One path leads to heartbreak. The avoidant runs, the relationship collapses, and the cycle resets with someone new. The same wounds, the same fears, the same tragedy, just different faces. This is the most common fate. But there is another path. Rare, difficult, but real. It begins with self-awareness, therapy, and the terrifying risk of true vulnerability. On this path, the avoidant can finally break free, heal their attachment wounds, and learn what authentic connection actually feels like. Every avoidant relationship ends at this crossroads. 2 choices, 2 destinies, no middle ground. Every avoidant relationship begins with a dangerous illusion. At the start, the avoidant does not look avoidant at all. In fact, they look perfect. They arrive with intensity, with charm, with the kind of attention most people only dream of. They text constantly. They plan passionately. They speak about the future as if it is already written. This is the idealization and pursuit phase, the most seductive lie in the entire cycle. The partner feels chosen, special, desired in a way that feels rare, almost magical. Finally, they think, someone who sees me, someone who truly wants me. And in those early days, the avoidant seems like the best partner they've ever had. Deep, thoughtful, romantic. Their energy feels like destiny. But what the partner doesn't know is that this intensity has a hidden purpose. Beneath the charm, the avoidant is unconsciously running a test. Is this person safe? Can I take what I need from them without being consumed by their needs? Can I stay close without losing myself? In this stage, the avoidant isn't seeing their partner as a real, complex human being. They're seeing a projection, a fantasy image they've created, filtered through their own fears and desires. They exaggerate the good, erase the bad, and build an idealized picture that feels too good to be true, because it is. This phase can feel intoxicating. The avoidant may talk about marriage, children, or lifelong commitment. They may share vulnerable stories, love bomb with affection, or sweep their partner into a whirlwind of bonding. And yet, none of it is built to last. It is built to distract, to delay, to keep the walls hidden until reality arrives. And reality always arrives. Because eventually the partner's true needs surface, requests for consistency, emotional closeness, commitment, and at that exact moment, the fantasy begins to crack. The avoidant starts to see not an ideal, but a real person with real demands. And that is when their defenses awaken. Stage 1 is not the beginning of love. It is the setup for the collapse. The mask will fall, the fear will rise, and the relationship will slide into the next phase. Stage 2. Anxiety emerges. The unraveling begins. The dream begins to fracture. The intoxicating rush of stage 1 fades, and for the first time the avoidant sees their partner not as a fantasy, but as a real human being with real needs, real expectations, and the desire for true emotional closeness. And this is the moment the avoidant's hidden fears wake up. This is where the anxiety begins. Inside the avoidant, two voices collide. One whispers, "Stay close. This is love." The other screams, "Run, before you get trapped." The tension is unbearable. This is cognitive dissonance in its rawest form. They crave intimacy, and they fear it with equal intensity. Slowly, the behaviors shift. The constant texting slows down. The late-night calls become rare. The warmth that once felt endless now flickers in and out, and the partner feels it immediately. The person who once chased them now begins to pull away. Not completely, just enough to keep them hooked, confused, questioning, "Did I do something wrong? Why are they different now?" This is the push-pull cycle. One moment connection, the next moment distance. One day a flood of affection, the next day silence. The partner is left spinning, addicted to the highs, terrified of the lows. Meanwhile, the avoidant is drowning in inner chaos, but instead of facing it, they redirect it outward. They start blaming, "You're too needy. You expect too much." Or they point to circumstances, "I'm busy. It's just bad timing." But the truth is darker. They are not running from their partner. They are running from themselves. And then come the tests. The avoidant begins pulling back intentionally, just to see what the partner will do. If the partner chases, they feel smothered. If the partner pulls away, they feel abandoned. No reaction feels safe. Every choice feels like danger. This stage is the slow poisoning of the relationship. The partner clings harder. The avoidant withdraws further, and the cycle tightens like a noose. But it cannot stay here forever. Anxiety, when pushed to the limit, always explodes. This is the breaking point. The mask of stage 1's charm and stage 2's push-pull finally slips away. Now the avoidance defenses rise like an armored wall, and every brick is built to keep love out. What once felt like passion now feels like resistance. What once promised safety now radiates cold indifference. The imbalance begins to bleed through the relationship. One partner leans in, invests, chases. The other leans out, withholds, escapes, and slowly the equation twists into something cruel. The more one gives, the less the other responds. Here, the avoidance distancing strategies are no longer subtle. Communication is stripped down to the bare minimum. Texts delayed, calls unanswered, physical affection dwindles, until touch feels like a privilege, not a given. Any talk of the future is dodged with excuses, jokes, or silence. And the word commitment becomes the most dangerous trigger of all. Yet beneath this armor, the avoidant is not at peace. Their inner world is a battlefield. There is relief in creating distance, in reclaiming space from the intimacy that feels suffocating. But there is also guilt, an echo of conscience whispering, "You are hurting someone who only wanted closeness." And deep within, there is conflict, a desperate tug of war between craving love and fearing its cost. The partner, however, cannot see this invisible war. All they feel is loss. The warmth is gone, the connection fractured, the promises broken, and so they fight harder, pleading, demanding, searching for the person they fell in love with. But here lies the cruel paradox. The more the partner reaches, the more the avoidant retreats. Every plea for love feels like pressure. Every request for closeness feels like danger. And what begins as silent withdrawal soon erupts into open conflict. Arguments flare, resentments surface. The partner feels abandoned. The avoidant feels trapped. And the once intoxicating bond now mutates into a battlefield of unmet needs and unspoken fears. This stage is a slow suffocation, a relationship drowning, not in absence of love but in the terror of it. And then comes the snap, when frustration collides with exhaustion, when silence collapses into chaos. The relationship is pushed to its ultimate edge. Stage 4 begins. The crisis point. The place where every avoidant relationship either shatters completely or faces the one chance for transformation. This is it. The point of no return. Every avoidant relationship reaches this exact crossroad where the game of push and pull can no longer continue. The pursuing partner, completely drained. They've cried, pleaded, compromised, overgiven, and now they're standing empty, realizing they've been holding a relationship together with their bare hands while the other person kept pulling away. This exhaustion isn't just sadness, it's collapse, and the avoidant, they are caught in a trap of their own mind. Two fears collide like thunder inside them. The fear of losing the relationship, the terror that if their partner finally lets go, they'll be abandoned, unloved, forgotten. The fear of intimacy, the terror that if they let their guard down, if they truly open up, they'll lose themselves or be destroyed by rejection. This is not tension anymore. This is war happening inside their chest. And here comes the decision point. The ultimate fork in the road. Path 1. The avoidant clings to their defenses. They withdraw completely, shut down, numb themselves, and watch the relationship die. The partner walks away shattered, carrying wounds that will echo into their next love. The avoidant tells themselves, it wasn't meant to be, and the cycle repeats again with someone new. Path 2. Something rare, something almost miraculous. The avoidant finally breaks, not the relationship, but their own denial. They see the truth. Their fear has been driving everything, and instead of running, they stop. They face it. They reach out. They say, I don't know how, but I want to try. It's messy. It's terrifying. But this is the seed of healing. This is where therapy, awareness, and vulnerability begin to build what was never there before. Real intimacy, real security, real love. And here's the brutal truth. Stage 4 will either end the story forever or rewrite it completely. There is no middle ground. For the first time, both partners are forced to confront their deepest patterns. The pursuer must face their fear of abandonment. The avoidant must face their fear of closeness. And in that mirror, each person sees not just who they have been, but who they could become. This is the final ending of every avoidant relationship. Two choices. Repeat the dysfunction, or step into transformation. The question is, which ending will you live? This is the ending no one wants to face, but it's the one most avoidant relationships collapse into. The breakup doesn't happen in one dramatic explosion. It happens in silence, in missed calls, in cold eyes, in the slow decay of intimacy, until one day the pursuing partner realizes they're holding on to a ghost, exhausted, broken. They finally let go. And the avoidant, they don't feel relief. They feel a strange, hollow emptiness. But instead of facing it, they cover it with stories. They were too needy. I wasn't ready. It just wasn't the right person. And just like that, the cycle resets. A new partner comes. The script begins again. The charm, the spark, the illusion of deep love. But soon enough, the same anxieties rise. The same defenses activate. The same distance grows. And once again, collapse. Another broken heart. Another unfinished story. Another ghost added to the pile. On the surface, the avoidant pretends nothing is wrong. They laugh. They distract themselves. They even tell friends, I'm better off alone. But in the quiet hours, when no one is watching, there is a gnawing ache, a loneliness so sharp, it feels like a cage, a life that feels safe, but empty. And over the years, this ending doesn't soften, it hardens. Cynicism replaces hope. Isolation replaces intimacy. The avoidant convinces themselves love is a lie, that no one stays, that nothing real ever lasts. But deep inside, they know the truth. It wasn't love that failed, it was fear. This is the cost of never healing. Not one failed relationship, but a lifetime of repeated failure. Not one heartbreak, but an endless loop of self-sabotage. The avoidant thinks they've protected themselves from pain, but in reality, they've sentenced themselves to the slowest, deepest pain of all, a life without real connection. This is the first ending of every avoidant relationship. The cycle repeats. The ghosts pile up, and in the end, nothing remains but distance, regret, and the echo of love that never had a chance. This is the ending few ever witness, the rare path, the miracle, because this time, instead of running away, the avoidant finally stops. At first, it feels unbearable. The walls they've built their entire life begin to crack. The excuses don't work anymore. The blaming, the withdrawing, the shutting down, it all collapses under the weight of one truth. It's not them. It's me. My fear has been in control. And for the very first time, the avoidant chooses courage over comfort. They step into therapy. They face the wounds they've buried for years. The childhood fears, the memories of abandonment, the terror of being vulnerable. It's not easy. It's not quick. But session by session, tear by tear, the armor starts to melt. Something extraordinary happens. Self-awareness. The avoidant begins to understand the pattern that has been sabotaging every connection. And instead of pushing love away, they start to lean in. They learn to speak, not in defensiveness, but in honesty. To listen, not in fear, but in presence. To share, not just their strengths, but their fears, their insecurities, their truth. And when that shift happens, the relationship transforms. The partner who once felt abandoned now feels seen, heard, valued. The avoidant, who once ran from closeness, discovers the peace of staying. Emotional intimacy deepens. Communication becomes real. Conflicts don't destroy anymore. They become bridges to deeper understanding. This is not the fairy tale of instant healing. It's the story of real, messy, courageous growth. But the reward is unlike anything the avoidant has ever known. A relationship that finally feels safe, not just for their partner, but for them too, and long term. This path leads to a love that lasts, to shared dreams, to conflict resolution without destruction, to intimacy that doesn't suffocate, but sustains, to two people not trapped in fear, but walking together in freedom. This is the second ending of every avoidant relationship, the rare breakthrough where fear gives way to love, and a cycle of dysfunction finally transforms into a future worth fighting for. So now you've seen it. The 4 stages, the 2 endings, the entire psychological roadmap of every avoidant relationship. No matter how different the faces, the stories, the circumstances, this pattern is predictable. Attraction, anxiety, defenses, crisis. Every path narrows to the same fork in the road, and at that fork there are only 2 outcomes. The cycle repeats or the cycle breaks. This awareness is more than just knowledge. It's power, because once you see the map, you can no longer pretend you're lost. You know what's coming. You know the signs. You know what's at stake. And that means you have a choice. Yes, healing is rare. Most avoidants stay locked in their defenses, replaying the same heartbreak again and again. But rare does not mean impossible. With therapy, with self-awareness, with courage, the cycle can be interrupted. Intimacy can be built. Love can become secure. Growth is possible if the avoidant chooses it. For the pursuing partner, this knowledge also matters. You can stop chasing blindly. You can set boundaries. You can decide whether to stay, to walk away, or to invite healing. Awareness allows you to choose from strength instead of desperation. In the end, this roadmap doesn't guarantee which outcome you'll face, but it shows you the truth. Avoidant relationships don't collapse by accident. They collapse, or transform, by design. and the design is shaped by choices, by effort, by courage. The story can end in ghosts and regret, or it can end in healing and freedom. The question is not what the roadmap looks like anymore. The question is, which ending will you create?